this really is a book that is so necessary for students, for parents, for teachers, for faculty, for administration. Ramez, I'm going to have you unmute, and you're coming to us from Egypt. So you've been traveling all over the world, you Mr. Globetrotter. Your book is out. It's an international best-selling book already. So tell us a little bit about your defining moment in your life.
All right, so my book is not exactly about my defining moment, but my defining moment is what led me to the book. So where do I start? It was about 2 decades ago. And a lot of people always told me, you should become a teacher. I mean, for whatever, they saw in me, right? I'm good with kids, or I'm patient, and my excuse was always, oh no, I've got a potty mouth. I can't be in a classroom full of kids, or I'm less mature than the kids. The kids will be more mature than me, right? I can't be a teacher. But the real reason I wouldn't be a teacher was because of my stutter. I've had a stutter for as long as I can remember. Which leads me to my defining moment. So instead of teaching, I went into a career in HR because I knew I couldn't sit on a desk for a long time, and I also knew I needed to, deal with people. I'm a people person. I need to deal with. I need to talk to people all the time. Customer service was my thing, but I want to do customer service for the rest of my life, right? So what else can I do? I'll go into HR. And then I got a job at a staffing agency. And little did I know that a staffing agency is 99% you have to make, cold calls. And if you know anybody who stutters, a phone is a stutter's is our kryptonite. We don't like the phone, right? We don't like the phone. We don't like making calls, especially to people we don't know. And so I didn't know that when I applied and I got the job. I thought I'd be, interviewing people, dealing with people face to face kind of thing. But in the 2 weeks I was on this job, I think I made maybe 2 or 3 calls, right? I avoided like the plague, but I had to make the calls, and those calls were just, horrible calls. Inevitably and unsurprisingly, I got fired from that job. And I left the office and I got on the bus, and on my way home, I cried. I mean, I was a 20-something-year-old on a bus, sitting by myself, and I cried in silence. I cried not because, not because of the job. It was a crappy job, right? But I cried because I felt, for the first time in my life, I felt the weight of the disability. And that was the defining moment, where that moment I decided that disability would not affect me anymore. It was a terrible time. It was a terrible moment in my life, but at the same time, looking back at it, it was a good time because I said, F this, F this feeling. I don't want to feel this feeling anymore, right? And because of that moment, I went into teaching. I became a teacher, and I stepped into a classroom full of, a number of young people, which I would never speak in front of people, right? It was a nightmare for me, right? But I stepped into a classroom full of, 30, 20 something, 30 young people, and I did it. I became a teacher. I did not have any background information, teaching was never in my plan. So I never had the training, I never had the education, I never went to teachers college, never got a BEd or whatever, but I went into the classroom and I figured it out. I figured it out from scratch. I figured it out, a lot of trial and error, a lot of research, a lot of reading, a lot of, professional development, and I figured out what I call the classroom formula, which is what I called my book, The Classroom Formula. And that moment it sort of changed my life because, then I mean, I made a podcast, who in my situation would make a podcast, right? Of course, thanks to editing, I do a lot of editing. But I've got a podcast. I became a teacher, and eventually I spoke in front of a classroom. I spoke in front of the whole school, right? And and again, because of this of the decision in the on that day, I felt comfortable speaking in front of hundreds of people. Whether it was my peers at the school or the entire school, including all the students. I mean, I felt on that stage in that classroom, I felt comfortable for whatever. I don't know what the reason was, but maybe it was because of that decision. And that was my defining moment, which led me to become a teacher and which led me to, write this book.
So your book, so first of all, thank you for sharing your story and for that vulnerability, because who would have thought, if there's other people out there watching who have the same issue or the same disability of stuttering, and how the impact of connection and communication affects you and shuts you down when you have that fear of talking to people. And now you became not only a communicator, an educator, a speaker, an author, having a podcast, like you've overcome so much. So I just think that's you. I hope that you celebrate that and realize how far you've come, because this is just an incredible story, an incredible journey. So tell us why you created this book for teachers. Like, what do you want to help teachers overcome with this book?
I mean, this book is the book I wish I had when I first went into the classroom. It is the do's and don'ts. It is the bewares, right? It is the thou shalts and thou shalt nots. When I was a new teacher, a green teacher, obviously I didn't have the background. I made the mistakes and I did what I thought was right. Obviously, it was not. It is the book that it's the shortcut, right? It's the book that is gonna, is gonna basically have you start, hit the ground running. It is for new teachers. It is for, veteran teachers who've got, all teachers have challenges. And so it is the book that deals with those festering challenges of classroom management and motivation and engagement, which every teacher, speak to any teacher, it's those things that are often at the top of their list of challenges, right? It's the classroom management, it's the behavior, it's the motivation. I don't know how to get my students engaged. Well, that is what I talk about. I don't know how to motivate my students. That's what I talk about. I don't know how to get my students, well behaved in class. That's what I talk about.
Right. I can't wait to give this book to all of my son's teachers. He's in high school. And nothing against his teacher, but he had this one teacher that was a coach that was teaching math. And he had all A's and he had an F in math both semesters. And then he goes to summer school with a different teacher and he gets a straight A. He gets 104 on his test. And the teacher's like, I don't even know why you're here. You're a great student. You obviously know this. So it's all about the process. And it could be the same student that has a completely different experience with a teacher. And I will tell you the other thing, my other son, his older brother, is driving crazy, is he would get a test back and it would have all these red marks if these are the wrong answers, but they wouldn't correct it and put the right answer. And it drove him crazy because he goes, I want to know the right answer.
Yeah, the
And the
feedback.
teacher
Yeah.
and the teachers would say, we don't have time to go correct it. I said, why don't you create a key for the teacher's aid to correct it? Because the whole point of teaching these kids is they want to know the answers. And if you're not teaching them the correct answers, they're not learning anything. So it's
Exactly.
little logistical things like that that are really hard unless you've been in the student section, or you've been in that as a student, or you've been a teacher. It's hard to know. The other thing is,
Exactly.
I have a really good friend that one of my best friends since we were 11 years old, many years. She's a teacher, and she literally called me and said, I'm getting out of being, I'm so burnt out. I can't do this anymore. I'm going to go get a
So
job.
many teachers are saying that now. Yeah.
And you know what she said? I'm going to go get a job at a chemical plant. And I said, no, you're not. Please tell me you're not going to do that out of desperation just to get out of this industry. And she's one of the most gifted teachers I've ever seen. Her heart is so big for these students. And it's just like the system is so broken for the students, for the teachers, and it's too bad because everybody gets hurt. The intentions are good, but there's just so many people that slip through the cracks on both sides. So this really is a book that is so necessary for students, for parents, for teachers, for faculty, for administration, on the
Not only
corporate.
that, Melanie, it is a book for anybody, I mean, who sort of has a position as a teacher, as an instructor. It could be for teachers, obviously. It could be for Sunday school teachers. You know what I mean? It could be
Yeah.
for corporate, corporate trainers. It could be for coaches. It could be for anybody who stands in front of a group of people with a syllabus or a curriculum. It's not only for children. And I made it sort of, I made a point not to, sort of not to have it for a specific age group or a specific, academic,
Mhm.
academic program, even a subject. It's for anybody who stands in front of people and teaches or instructs or coaches. So it's not only for teachers. They're primarily for teachers, but it's not, it's not only for teachers. Yeah.
I love that. And it
Yeah.
reminds me too, when I was going through and becoming a coach after I wrote my first book, and I was like, didn't realize the power of writing a book and how people would see me as an authority. I wasn't prepared for that. And I lost a lot of opportunity. I had written a book about grief. I had parents calling me that were in such grief mode, like they were literally suicidal. And I was terrified I was going to say the wrong thing. And I remember going back to my mentor at the time, Tony Robbins, and he kind of taught me some of these skills and tools to help me get through it. And it was so helpful that I became a coach, right, to help people walk through it. And it's the same thing. How do you connect with people that are shut down? How do you make sure that the people that are going through this process, like you can't force feed people and force them to learn something. But it was a real eye opener when you start trying to teach people. And he said something
Mm.
to me I'll never forget. He said, stop seeing yourself as a teacher who's just giving out information and start seeing yourself as a healer who's offering transformation. And it just shifted for me like instantly. And I went, oh my gosh, I could receive that. And it was such a huge sacred responsibility where I realized I had these people in the palm of my hand to be able to help them with their own transformation, no matter what kind of teacher, instructor, coach, mentor, like you said, it's your curriculum. But if you get to this passive thing, like I'm the teacher, I'm just giving them stuff and they're just absorbing it and processing it, it really takes away that whole human soul element of it and the transformation you're offering people. So
Exactly. And I love what you're saying, and I wish I can go through everything I say in the book.
yeah,
But I
no,
can't
that's why
right
they need to
now.
buy the
But
book.
exactly.
So
I mean, it's
so
not
tell
about the teacher standing in front of a classroom and just
yeah.
vomiting information at the students, because that's not how it works anymore, right? And like what you said before, if you, and again, I say this in the book, if you walk, I mean, in a hallway at a school, you're going to see, a classroom on the right that is, that's well behaved, a classroom on the left that's on task, a classroom in front of you that is all over the place. It's the same students, and you realize that the behavior or the, or the dynamics of the classroom is not in the hands of the students. It's in the hands of the teacher, how they could, how they conduct the classroom. That's what I talk about.
So tell us a little bit about so the we know who the book is for. How can they get in touch with you if they buy the book today? Is there a special gift or offer that you have for people who want to get it today? Special launch price as
There,
well.
the, yes, Melanie, there is a special gift. I created a document, a PDF document that is a list basically of activities that you can do in the classroom. You could take them and personalize them for your age group or for your, for your subject, and you could use them in the classroom, ready to go. And that is what you're going to get. If you want to reach me, theclassroomformula.com is the website for the book, as well as Ramez at legendaryeducator.com. Also legendaryeducator.com is where you find the podcast. Yeah, so
I love it.
I'm
I love
everywhere.
it. And the people, like if people want to be a guest on your podcast, would they also reach out to you that way? And I'm assuming you want guests for your podcast as who are teachers, educators, or administrators, anybody that's like coaching, training, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so the podcast is a labor of love. It is basically, it is ongoing professional development for teachers via sort of discussions I have with experienced teachers.
Awesome.
So I
I
have
love
an
it.
English, I have, so I get a, an English teacher and she says, this is how I do things and I've seen success. I get a math teacher, this is how I do things, I see success. I get a veteran teacher who says, this is, I mean, I've seen, in classroom management, I do 1, 2, 3, and I've seen success. So it's not me always talking, but I have conversation, with people who are experienced, who share their successes. And so you can take this success, put it into your classroom and see the same success.
I love that. And a
Yeah.
lot of people don't know that teachers have to buy their own books. They have to have their own budgets, especially in like elementary school classrooms and things like that. So we do get a lot of teachers that become buyers on our book list just because they can get, you can buy, multiple ebooks for 99 cents on launch day. And now you've got
Mm.
enough for 30, 40 bucks. You have enough to fill your whole classroom. And a lot of the students, you're even getting links to be able to give those out to people. And a lot of the students are not even using hardcover books anymore. They're using a lot of digital books. So it's just a cheaper way to actually get the books and the information out to people without breaking a budget, and especially during these launches. So definitely take advantage if you know teachers or people that need this. We all know a teacher that needs this book. You can actually click, if you're in the US, you can actually click on it and buy a copy and give it to somebody else. Otherwise, we're doing the ebook launch right now, and then your print book is coming soon as well. But you can also share the link with people and they can buy it. Right now it's available in 87 different countries, different parts of the world. So it doesn't matter where they are in the world as a teacher or somebody that wants to make an impact on a small group, Bible study teacher, college, university, elementary, all the way down. So great job. Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else that you want to share with our audience today before we wrap up?
Yeah, just as a final note, obviously I didn't write this book for the fame and the glory. I mean, I told you this before. I mean, if this book reaches 1 or 2 teachers who then is affected and improves their teaching for hundreds and thousands of their students, along the years, then I'm a happy guy. I mean, I've done my job, right? Hopefully the more teachers you sort of see this book, the more students are affected by it, right? It's always trickle down, right? The students are always our priority. The students are always our focus. It's not the teachers, not the schools, not the administration. At the end of the day, a teacher's focus is the students. And so, I mean, if a teacher reads this and they learn 1 or 2 things and they are more effective in the classroom, they are more engaging, inspiring in the classroom, I'm happy.
I love it. Thank you so much for doing this for our teachers and our students and our, just the classrooms out there, just to help everybody. This is why we do what we do, y'all, because I love having this platform of defining moments to be able to not only share these stories that I hope have inspired y'all, but also inspiring you all to get these books and ideas out of your head, out of your heart, and into the hands and hearts of the people that really need them. So congratulations on all of your success and your launches. Thank you for offering more generosity with a special price and gifts for our viewers today and everybody in our community that's watching this. And just a reminder, if you need help getting your book done, you want someone to help walk you through it, there's a lot of different tools and resources we have for you. So go to mydefiningmoments.com and visit our site and talk with somebody in our team. You can also email support@mydefiningmoments.com to book a call with someone in our team if you want to have a quick conversation. We can figure out the best way to support you. Like, all of us have this incredible knowledge and something that you've had to work through in your own life. We just want to give you the platforms and the tools to be able to get it out there to the world very quickly. And a lot of times you're hearing people doing this in a matter of weeks or months, not years. So thank you all for being with us today. I'm Melanie Warner with Defining Moments. Thank you to Ramez for being here today. This is so cool, having this global ability and outreach to be able to connect people, where we want to create this community, like we say, of hope dealers, because we got enough dope dealers. Amen. So we want to bring people to this community. If you need solutions, it's better to listen to somebody who has what you want. You can get the book, you can take a course, you can even hire them as a mentor to walk you through your own journey on something that you guys are struggling with. So reach out, make sure you communicate with them, take advantage of these special prices and gifts during the launch. And by all means, please go back and leave an honest review. I know they would appreciate that, all the hard work and efforts. If they would love to get feedback, and you can reach out to each of them directly as well. Again, thank you all so much. Congratulations, all of you. Thank you again for joining us. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time. And by the way, all the links are below for all of the things we talked about today. All right, thanks, everyone. See you next time. Bye-bye.